one right there, because that still may have been on its way up when he got a piece of it.
Houston Rockets during the preseason lost their first 4, won their last 4, including a 32-point victory against the Nuggets. And Yao with his second bucket.
We can see already how much better Yao Ming looks this year than last. He was good last year, but I think any player in his second year is going to feel so much better and more comfortable, and Yao certainly looks that way.
Anthony. Carmelo did not shoot well last night. 29 minutes, 4 for 15 from the field. 12 points, 7 rebounds. But a guy who comes into the NBA polished with much big game success and only 1 year of college basketball. Foul was called on Camby. Nice move by Yao around Camby, and he is fouled.
Well, you've seen that Houston come down in 3 straight times, back off their transition stuff, get into their spots, and feed the ball into the low post, which is one of the things that Jeff Van Gundy said when he got the job. The big man will be touching the basketball in the low post area. They are trying to work with Yao to get lower post position than he normally is used to settling for. They need him deeper in the red paint area.
2 quick fouls on Marcus Camby. Yao, an excellent free throw shooter, 81% at the line last year.
How about the footwork on that move? He may have gotten away with a hook, but for a guy that big, and you really have to see him up close to realize, I mean, he is a legit 7'6", I think. And then to have that kind of footwork is really amazing.
Apparently they changed that first foul that was called on Camby, and they say it was not a foul. The ball was knocked out of bounds, so Camby has 1 personal foul. Jeff Van Gundy in a discussion with the officials a moment ago. Is Jeff, who's made the transition from having to put up with producer Scooter Vittino and director Renardo Lowe back to coaching. Jeff said they drove him back.
You know, come to think of it, that tie he's wearing looks very similar to one that I had last year, and I cannot find that.
Andre Miller. And here's Carmelo Anthony. Strong move by Anthony. He had Yao all over him.
You mentioned, Steve, that this is a young man who gets to the foul line a significant number of times, and there you saw his ability to put it on the floor, weave his way, find an opening to the basket.
Mobley finding Cato and a foul. And to get out, they average 84 points per game. That's the fewest ever for an NBA team in an 82-game schedule. Foul on Francis. Jeff Bzdelik played slow-down basketball last season, so the Nuggets allowed only 92 points per game. That's a very deceptive number.
Well, I don't think he had any weapons to work with, and I thought they played very hard last year. And I really think Denver is establishing an identity already as a team. They've put some weapons on the floor this year too, so I think they'll be much improved.
Yeah, they wanted to run a year ago, Steve, but they just did not have the players. Let's face it, their 3 guards from a year ago aren't even in the NBA right now, as the offensive foul is called on Yao Ming. So as a result, Jeff Bzdelik had to back off the tempo they played, slow it down, and play good, hard defense. Now they've got a team that can take advantage of the altitude, 5,000-foot altitude there, push the ball at people. They're running at you all the time.
Andre Miller tried to change the shot as he ran it to Yao Ming. Here's Francis with Camby back. Camby had to step away, did not want to pick up a third.
And this is where Steve Francis is so good, getting out on the break, using his athleticism, creating easy shots.
Rockets 10, Nuggets 4. Nice crossover by Anthony. Good play by Jackson to bat it away. Here's Jackson in the open floor, finding Francis, and the Rockets have a 12-4 advantage.
Smart basketball right there. Jackson knew exactly that he had a teammate in the right lane. That was one of those beautiful touch passes. He had his mind made up before he even got it.
Also feels that Leonard fires it and hits, that things may be a little easier for Yao, who was the focus of so much attention last year. Now he's still going to be the interview request when the Houston Rockets make the round, but it's not quite what it was last year.
Well, the focus is off of everybody now because LeBron has taken it.
What a sparkling opener for LeBron James. Pretty move. Miller not able to hit. Here come the Rockets again. It's a 3-on-2. Jim Jackson for 3. And coming up as the second of our doubleheader, it will be LeBron and the Cavaliers going up against the Phoenix Suns. Here's Miller.
He is so good at penetration, getting in the lane. This is a guy who really doesn't ever have to stop and pull up for a 20-footer because he can get himself a 14-footer whenever he wants by getting past his defender.
Kelvin Cato gets inside, and they able to come up with that loose ball. Camby, Cato gave the room. Marcus Camby acquired from the Knicks in that deal involving Nene, Antonio McDyess, and Mark Jackson. McDyess yet to play for the Knicks due to the 3D surgery. Of course, Marcus Camby has been very fragile. Foul is called on Rashawn Leonard.
He might be the key guy for their team's success this year, Camby. How well he plays, how healthy he remains.
By Yao Ming. The crowd responding to the play of Yao.
Were there any 7'5" guys in the Big East last year? That's the first time he's facing the 7'5" Yao Ming.
How about Carmelo? He has to go against Tim Duncan on opening night and Yao Ming the next night. Tough to get to the rim against those two guys.
Leonard had it knocked away by Mobley. 6:11 remaining in this first quarter. Rockets up by 4. Shot clock down to 6. Leonard forcing. You guys think it works with the combination of talking long range, Francis and Mobley, or will this be a better team when eventually, as Miller, and once again, time we mentioned this, that they left it out?
Well, since you can't vote for other, who would you take off that screen?
It's tough to pass up on a big guy that you can throw the ball to every time down the floor and make something happen, not only for himself, but for his teammates.
Yao would be my pick, too.
Yao is fouled.
I think as good as those young guys are going to be, and probably already are, if you look at the history of the NBA, I think Michael Jordan is probably the only wing perimeter type player who has really built a dynasty with his team. Everybody else you look at, whether it's Bill Russell, Tim Duncan and David Robinson, Hakeem, going back to the Lakers, Kareem, those championship teams are built around big guys. There are thousands of people in the world who are 6'5", 6 feet, who can play basketball. There's only a handful who are over 7 feet tall who can really play, and those are the guys who ultimately make a huge difference.
You mean those Bulls teams weren't built around Longley and Cartwright, the centers, big centers they had at that time?
Actually, they were built around Judd Bushley.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Remember Judd?
I think Judd will really appreciate this conversation. But he is a former college teammate of yours, so
yes.
He'll accept it.
He'll accept
he knows you. And the foul is called on Jackson. Carmelo Anthony has been very quiet in his 13 minutes, only 1 of 5 from the field. This is his first appearance at the line, 19 years old. His 1 season at Syracuse was brilliant, capped off by winning the national championship. And Denver, a perfect team for Carmelo. He's on a club where he will be the featured scorer. It did not happen last night. It's not happened here tonight. At long range, that will be the case. And Francis continues to take it to the rim.
And a little bit of a defensive mix-up that time between Andre Miller and Carmelo Anthony on that side pick and roll. Watch Anthony, what he does. Miller goes underneath, and then Anthony thinks he's supposed to go back to Jackson, and it allows the ball to turn the corner, and now Francis goes to the line for 2.
And that's communication. You know, when you're a guard and you're being picked, you have to know what's coming, and your teammate, in that case Carmelo, has to understand. He's got to yell out, what's the play? Is it a switch? Are you getting under the screen? If there's no communication, those are the types of mix-ups that can happen.
Those are things that are talked about in pregame meetings and shoot-arounds in the mornings. Stuff like if it's a 1-3 point guard, small forward, pick and roll on the sideline, we're going to switch that. And that's a lot of stuff for a youngster coming in to remember.
And Carmelo, remember, he played 2-3 zone under Jim Boeheim all last year. He didn't play a whole lot of man-to-man.
Strong ball by Nene. Here's a guy who had his name changed legally in his second year in the NBA out of Brazil. Had an outstanding rookie season. Started slowly but came on strong. Anthony off the steal. Fires for three. And that was a 4 shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure Jeff Bezdelic wants to give him that much of a green light.
Jackson off the reverse, and the Rockets lead 39-34.
That's what happens when you take a bad shot. The floor balance is distorted. Long shot usually leads to long missed shot, leads to longer rebounds. It allows the team coming back at you in transition to get an easy basket.
Miller and Leonard now in the backcourt. Anderson is up front with Anthony and Nene. Shot clock down at 2. Miller. Nene on the offensive glass, and Francis hit the floor. And Nene shows the touch.
If he can hit that shot, he's going to be a great player in this league, because he's almost as athletic as Amari Stoudemire. He's got a lot of potential. If he can knock down the 12, 15-foot shot, now he's an offensive weapon.
Here's Yao powering his way past.
To fade a little bit on that jump shot in the lane and hit the fall-away jumper. A nice jump hook a little bit up into the red painted area, and then back his man down with a drop step and power his way through, just the way his head coach Jeff Van Gundy would like to see it, and assistant coach Patrick Ewing working with him every day, developing his post moves and foot.
Fratello. And as we take a look at the stats, Carmelo Anthony 1 for 6 in his 16 minutes of play. Very quiet start for the rookie from Syracuse.
I think a couple of things have happened so far in the first 2 games of the season for Carmelo. Number one is he's pressing. I mean, it's normal. You come out of preseason, you're playing well, but now all of a sudden the games count. And so he's probably pressing. And of course, LeBron had a big night last night. Everybody's talking about him, and maybe Carmelo wants to live up to that. The other thing is, you know, the competition gets a lot better when the regular season starts. And his first 2 nights, trying to get to the rim against Tim Duncan last night, Yao Ming tonight, made things very difficult for him.
Now let's take a look at the Jeep game summary.
I don't know if there'll be any time left to get to it since Steve is running his own show here tonight. But anyhow, as we see, field goal percentage.
See that?
No, it's the special. It's the Steve Kerr special.
It's all about me.
Free throw attempts. We see 20 free throw attempts for the Houston Rockets, and led by Yao Ming, who is 7 for 8 from the foul line.
Czar gets very emotional when he is not able to speak on camera. Third quarter underway, 6-point lead for the Rockets. Yao lost it. And Francis trying to save it, stepped out of bounds. Denver Nuggets, who come off a win at home last night over the San Antonio Spurs, 80-72, although they shot only 29%. Tonight, just under 40% from the field. That win last night, incidentally, broke an 8-game losing streak. Camby not able to hit. Camby missing on the tip. They had lost their last 8 games last season. They went 0 for April. Francis, yes, tonight saw it in preseason. He'll back defenders down low and turn and shoot over them. Reminiscent of Nuggets perennial all-star Alex English. But Jim Jackson did not allow much from Carmelo Anthony. Jackson sitting down after picking up his 4th. Barry called on the field.
They're fighting for the rebound. You see him get tied up, and there's the forearm that Maurice Taylor throws. So yes, he initiated it. He should be the one hit with it.
That was the correct call?
Yes.
Good call.
Because in the past, often it will be a compound. Here's Taylor. The Box out by Nene.
You know, the way you said that, it sounded like you doubted that I believed it was a good call. So therefore, you put some hesitancy in people's minds.
I have been so confused with so many of your statements here tonight as Anderson is not able to hit. Boykins gets the rebound. Carmelo Anthony with 10 of Denver's last 13 points. Barry, a little running hook.
Jeff Van Gundy mentioned to us today, he knows who his starting lineup is right now to start the season, but he's not sure who his finishing lineup is. And it's a great statement because you have to know which guys you can trust and count on at the end of games to help win basketball games. That's what the exhibition season is about. That's what these early season games are about.
Once again, Taylor and Nene get involved. It's on Taylor, number 4. And I'm hearing the public address say Nene, but we did check with Nene, and that's what he said.
How do you pronounce Czar? Do we pronounce that right?
Silent C.
Nobody checked with me, to be honest with you, Steve.
Oh, Anderson hit the floor. Here's Boykins. That's a 3-point.
When he knocks him down, way down in Miami, very excited. He's played point guard, 2 guard, small forward for them.
And Yao. Anthony. Skeeter Feely on the putback. And this crowd beginning to file out. A successful home opener for Jeff Van Gundy and the Houston Rockets. They have been in command most of the way. Bragg's not able to hit. Rebound. Anthony. Here's Leonard. Miller backs it up on Jackson. And again, the Rockets look to run. Mobley put behind the back and finds Jackson.
That dribble came at Carmelo Anthony. It froze him right there. And I don't know if you've seen too many of those that we had at Syracuse.
The Bender of Indiana in his 1999 debut, and Amari Stoudemire of Phoenix last season.
I think he beat that record in the first quarter, didn't he?
Kelvin Cato is taken out of the lineup, told suffering a leg cramp. Here's Yao.
Well, it's time to bring in the walk-ons, I think.
Anthony. Oh, Carmelo gets inside. 16 points, but only 4 of 13 from the field.
And even though he struggled, I think he's shown us tonight why he's going to be good. He's scored every way imaginable. He's hit threes. He's had offensive putbacks. He's gotten to the line. And even on a tough night, here he is with 16 points.
Well, Jim Jackson just took him out in the first half. He played him very physically, played him very well. Foul called on Anthony.
Jackson's played well tonight. He's one of those guys who it's so surprising that look at all the teams he's played for. I mean, Dallas, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and he plays. He gets significant minutes on every team. Why does he bounce around like this, Mike?
We'll go back to where he started. He started off his career in Dallas. And remember, that was the Dallas team that had Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, and Jimmy Jackson on it. Jackson started out 16, 19, 25 and a half points his first 3 seasons. Then they felt they had to break that team up. If you remember, he severely turned his ankle at the end of his career in Dallas, and it took him almost a year and a half to come back from that. He never was quite the same player.
Crowd reacting because Houston has scored 100 points. They have redeemed coupons for valuable gifts. Foul on Braggs remaining in the game. Fallon scoring for the Rockets. Yao with 19, Francis 17. Miller hits the 3. Mobley with 21. Cato 10 points, 13 rebounds, 10 apiece for Jackson and Taylor. Miller with 16. Anthony with 18. And Uchinar's running the clock down. The Rockets with a 102-85 victory over the Nuggets. For the Czar, Mike Fratello, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager, I'm Marv Albert saying good night from Houston again. The final Rockets 102 and the Nuggets 85 will take.